In the heart of an ancient, dense forest lived a boy with a tail named Sun Wukong. Wukong lived a simple, carefree life on his own, spending his days chopping firewood, picking fruit, and even fishing with his tail. One day, his peaceful routine was interrupted when he was suddenly struck by a car. Never having seen such a strange object before, Wukong was startled and thought it must be some kind of monster. Just then, a young girl climbed out of the car. Mistaking Wukong for a monster herself, she fired a few shots at him. But with his body as tough as steel, Wukong emerged entirely unscathed. The girl quickly explained that she was human, which made Wukong extremely curious. He had never seen a woman before. After all, besides his late grandfather, this girl was the first human Wukong had ever encountered. After a brief conversation, Wukong invited her to his home as a guest. The girl introduced herself as Bulma. When they arrived at Wukong's home, Bulma noticed a 4-star Dragon Ball and picked it up excitedly. Wukong, however, warned her not to touch it, explaining that it was a cherished keepsake from his grandfather. In response, Bulma pulled out 2 Dragon Balls of her own and explained that these mysterious orbs were part of a magical set. According to legend, gathering all 7 would allow someone to make any wish they desired. Bulma's reason for seeking the Dragon Balls was simple. She wanted to wish for the perfect boyfriend. With a bit of coaxing and persuasion, she convinced Wukong to join her on this adventurous quest. One can't help but wonder how Vegeta would feel about this. Bulma also showed off her Dragon Radar, a device she had invented to help track down the Dragon Balls. She even demonstrated her Hoi Poi capsules, which left Wukong amazed as he started to wrap his head around these fascinating new inventions. Soon after, they set off together on their journey. During their travels, Bulma was suddenly grabbed by a giant bird. Wukong quickly gave chase on a motorcycle, wielding his trusty, extendable Nyoibo staff to rescue her with ease. That evening, Bulma used one of her capsules to produce a house where they could spend the night. While helping Wukong bathe, she discovered that his tail was indeed real. At dinner, Wukong found he couldn't quite stomach the food Bulma prepared, so he ventured outside to find something more to his taste. Meanwhile, in a distant castle, a villain named Pilaf had also set his sights on the Dragon Balls. He sent his 2 henchmen, Shu and Mai, to collect the orbs for him. As luck would have it, they encountered Wukong as he searched for food. After a quick scuffle, Wukong kicked their aircraft down and returned home to finish his meal. The next morning, an innocent but amusing incident occurred. In a display of childish curiosity, Wukong removed Bulma's underwear. Could this be the reason Vegeta has always wanted to settle things with Wukong? Later, Goku began his morning workout and stumbled upon a large sea turtle who had been lost for over a year. The turtle asked for some salt water, then explained that he needed Bulma's help to find his way home. Without hesitation, Goku picked him up and dashed toward the shore, while Bulma reluctantly followed along. They met a bully on the way, but Goku dispatched him effortlessly. When they finally arrived at the beach, Goku marveled at the ocean, seeing it for the first time, while the turtle thanked them and promised a reward as he swam away. Meanwhile, Shu and Mai reported back to Pilaf with news of their failed mission, but Pilaf quickly received word that a man named Master Roshi possessed a Dragon Ball. The 3 of them set off in search of it. Soon after, the turtle returned with an elderly man wearing sunglasses, introducing him as Master Roshi, the turtle's owner. Master Roshi offered Goku a gift, an immortal bird, although it had unfortunately died from eating something poisonous. He then called forth the flying Nimbus, a fluffy yellow cloud that could only carry those with pure hearts. Master Roshi tried to demonstrate, but the cloud wouldn't carry him, while Goku hopped right on and played around thrilled. Bulma, wanting a gift too, agreed to show Master Roshi her underwear, though she hadn't realized she wasn't wearing any. Overjoyed, Master Roshi gave her the 3-star Dragon Ball, and they all parted ways, happy with their gifts. Back at his house, Master Roshi found Pilaf's gang searching for the Dragon Ball. He informed them that it was already given away, then punctured their plane and sent them packing. "That's what you get for not having a backup," he quipped. Goku and Bulma set out again to find the next Dragon Ball, with Bulma on her motorcycle since she couldn't ride the Nimbus. They arrived at a seemingly abandoned village, where Goku was quickly attacked. They learned that the villagers were hiding from a creature named Oolong, who had been terrorizing them and kidnapping young girls to marry. When Bulma asked about a Dragon Ball, an old woman produced the 6-star Dragon Ball, which she offered in exchange for getting rid of Oolong. Bulma disguised Goku as a young girl to lure Oolong out. Soon, a giant monster appeared, transforming into a handsome man to try and charm Bulma. When he saw Goku, however, he realized it was a trick. Enraged, he tried to intimidate Goku by transforming into various creatures, but Goku wasn't fooled. Oolong, desperate, turned to flee. He was a shape-shifting pig who could only hold a form for 5 minutes before needing a break. He even transformed into a missile to escape, but Goku chased him on the flying Nimbus and caught him. Oolong then led them to the girls he had taken, who were surprisingly well treated. With the 6-star Dragon Ball secured, Bulma invited Oolong to join their quest, intrigued by his powers. On learning they were headed to Fire Mountain, Oolong transformed into a fish to escape, but Bulma cleverly used her underwear to lure him back. To keep Oolong in check, she gave him a special candy with a laxative effect. When they reached the shore, Oolong tried to escape again, but when Bulma yelled "but," the candy kicked in, and he returned to the group. They resumed their journey on foot. In the desert, they encountered Yamcha, who had been stalking them. Yamcha's companion, Puar, recognized Oolong from their days at a shape-shifting preschool. Demanding they hand over their belongings, Yamcha challenged Goku, and during the fight, he noticed Goku's power pole and recalled Goku's grandfather. Son Gohan was a famed martial artist, and Yamcha, with his signature Wolf Fang fist, managed to knock down Wukong, who, weakened by hunger, was lacking his usual strength. But as soon as Wukong got back up, he struck back with a playful rock-paper-scissors punch, hitting Yamcha squarely. Furious, Yamcha charged at him again, but froze in his tracks when he saw Bulma. He quickly turned and fled, as he becomes extremely flustered around girls. After retreating, Yamcha came up with a new plan. That night, Wukong and his friends rested in Oolong's RV, a vehicle created from one of Oolong's precious hoi poi capsules. Eavesdropping nearby, Yamcha and his companion Puar overheard them talking about the Dragon Balls. Seeing an opportunity to wish away his fear of girls, Yamcha set his sights on stealing the Dragon Balls. Due to a sleep-inducing drink Oolong had given them, Wukong and Bulma soon fell into a deep sleep. Yamcha's plan was to have Puar transform into Bulma and lead her away, creating an opening to snatch the Dragon Balls. However, the plan took an unexpected twist. Oolong, disguised as Bulma, ended up being the one to confront Yamcha. Upon seeing Bulma, Yamcha was so nervous that his legs went weak. Is this what Vegeta might one day call the Green Hat Saga? Oolong ended up standing guard over the RV all night. In the morning, Shu and Mai crept aboard and planted a time bomb. After breakfast, Wukong and his friends resumed their journey. Ever persistent, Yamcha followed them and attacked Oolong's RV with a missile, hoping to finally seize the Dragon Balls. But now that Wukong had eaten and regained his strength, he swiftly defeated Yamcha, knocking out one of his teeth and sending him running again. Yamcha decided that instead of following them constantly, he'd wait until Bulma had gathered all 7 Dragon Balls before making his move. With the RV damaged, Wukong and his friends continued their journey on foot. Shu and Mai, believing the bomb had worked, boarded the RV to search for the Dragon Balls, only to be caught in their own explosion. Not long after, Yamcha arrived and presented Wukong and his friends with a new car, though he had secretly installed a tracking device on it. Following this botched attempt, Shu and Mai returned to Pilaf's castle to face his wrath. Eventually, Wukong and his friends arrived at Fire Mountain, a massive peak surrounded by roaring flames. Its owner, the Ox King, was unable to enter his own castle due to the intense fire. Meanwhile, Yamcha was still following them, planning his next move to steal the Dragon Balls. Suddenly, they encountered a young girl being pursued by a dinosaur. Despite the chase, she clearly could have defeated the dinosaur with ease. However, when she encountered Yamcha, she attacked him, only to be swiftly knocked out. Interestingly, Yamcha didn't feel nervous around this young girl. The Dragon Radar soon revealed that one of the Dragon Balls was located inside Fire Mountain's castle. Wukong attempted to approach on his flying Nimbus, but the flames blocked his path. At that moment, the Ox King appeared. Mistaking Bulma and her friends for treasure thieves, he attacked Wukong. Wukong found himself outmatched, but the Ox King eventually noticed the flying Nimbus and mentioned Master Roshi. The two began talking, and the Ox King was overjoyed at the possibility of finally reclaiming his castle. He then mentioned that he had once known Wukong's grandfather, Son Gohan, as they had both been students of Master Roshi, Son Gohan being the first disciple, and the Ox King the second. The Ox King asked Wukong to visit Master Roshi and retrieve the Bancho fan to put out the flames around Fire Mountain. He explained that he had already sent his daughter, Chi-Chi, to find Master Roshi, but she seemed to have gotten lost, and he asked Wukong to search for her. It turned out that Chi-Chi was the young girl Yamcha had knocked out earlier. Upon realizing this, Yamcha quickly rushed over to wake her up. Wukong soon found Chi-Chi, and after explaining the situation, the two set off together in search of Master Roshi. As they climbed onto the flying Nimbus, Chi-Chi held onto Wukong's tail, causing him to grow weak, his tail being a notable weak spot. Yamcha, observing nearby, took note of this vulnerability. In a spirit of youthful adventure, Wukong and Chi-Chi eventually arrived at Master Roshi's small island home. Upon their arrival, Chi-Chi decided to test Master Roshi's abilities before asking for the Bancho fan to extinguish the flames on Fire Mountain. Master Roshi agreed to help, but only on the condition that he could see Bulma's figure, ever the mischievous old man with his strange requests. Unfortunately, he then admitted that he had accidentally burned the Bancho fan long ago. Unfazed, Master Roshi decided to handle the matter himself. He donned a special outfit for the occasion, ready to show off his legendary skill. Since he couldn't ride the flying Nimbus, he summoned his trusty sea turtle to transport him, spinning across the waves until they reached Fire Mountain. The Ox King was thrilled to see Master Roshi, though the old man appeared a bit seasick from the journey. After offering the Ox King some advice, Roshi negotiated a new arrangement with Bulma. Desperate to find the Dragon Balls, Bulma reluctantly agreed, sealing the deal with a pinky promise. Master Roshi then removed his outer garments, concentrated his energy, and unleashed the powerful Kamehameha wave. It was a spectacular move that would define define his legacy, obliterating not only the flames but also the entire fire mountain. With the fire extinguished, Bulma quickly used her dragon radar to continue the search. Impressed, Wukong attempted the Kamehameha himself, astonishing everyone when he successfully pulled it off. When the Ox King learned of Son Gohan's passing, he expressed his sorrow. Touched by this, Master Roshi invited Wukong to train with him after they completed their quest for the Dragon Balls. Wukong, eager for the chance, agreed. Bulma soon found the 7-star Dragon Ball, and the Ox King gifted them a car to aid in their journey. Not one to forget a promise, Master Roshi reminded Bulma of their arrangement. To fulfill it, Bulma had Oolong transform into her likeness, much to Master Roshi's satisfaction. Chi-Chi and Wukong, in their sweet innocence, made a promise to each other to marry someday, and with that, the group set off once again. Yamcha, following close behind, appeared to be developing feelings for Bulma, or perhaps for the disguised Oolong. They soon arrived in a lively town where the townspeople, mistaking Bulma for a member of the fearsome Rabbit Gang, treated them with great respect. Moments later, the real Rabbit Gang members appeared, but Wukong quickly dealt with them. Unfazed, the gang called for their boss. Before long, a cute bunny-themed car pulled up and outstepped the gang leader, a large rabbit. With a simple touch, he transformed Bulma's hand into a carrot, revealing his unusual power. He then used the carrot to threaten Wukong, ordering him to stay put. Meanwhile, Yamcha quietly instructed Puar to grab the carrot. Taking advantage of the distraction, Yamcha dispatched the gang's minions, clearing the way for the group to continue their journey. After recovering the radish, Wukong brandished his golden cudgel, quickly dispatching the rabbit gang's leader and hauling them off to the moon, where they'd spend their days making rice cakes, lest the author forget about them. Meanwhile, Bulma vented her frustration at Oolong, who had finally made his way back to the group, and with that, their journey resumed. Back at Pilaf's castle, he and his minions had completed their own Dragon Ball radar, and with the 1-star Dragon Ball in hand, they set out. At the same time, Bulma, following her own radar, was drawing nearer to Pilaf's castle. However, just as they approached, they were ambushed. Shu, piloting a robot, snatched 5 of their Dragon Balls. Wukong leaped onto his Nimbus cloud, racing to catch up, but the enemy had already vanished into the distance. Disheartened, Bulma lamented their lost chance to make a wish, but upon realizing that the 4-star Dragon Ball was still with Wukong, she gathered her resolve and determined they get their Dragon Balls back. Unfortunately, they soon discovered that the Capsule Corp capsules had been stolen too. Yamcha arrived just in time to lend a hand, looking more than ready for the adventure that lay ahead. They maneuvered their way to the castle's far side, while Pilaf inside realized that he had managed to collect 6 Dragon Balls. His radar showed that the final ball was heading his way. Upon arriving at the castle, Wukong and the gang encountered traps at every turn. With Wukong and Yamcha's quick reflexes, they managed to navigate these perils, although they eventually stumbled into a trap so obvious it was almost insulting. When Wukong and Yamcha failed to break through the walls, Pilaf released sleeping gas, seizing the opportunity to steal the last Dragon Ball. Now all 7 Dragon Balls were gathered, glowing brilliantly. Pilaf's team prepared to summon Shenron. However, they'd forgotten to seal the trapdoor, allowing Wukong and the others to escape, leading to an awkward confrontation. As soon as they realized Shenron hadn't yet been summoned, the chase was on. Pilaf quickly activated another trap, sparking a lively sequence of trap-based skirmishes, ending with Wukong and his friends captured once more. At last, Pilaf turned to summon Shenron. Meanwhile, Wukong, not giving up, unleashed a Kamehameha that blasted an opening in the wall. Puar and Oolong transformed and slipped through the hole. But it was too late. Pilaf had already called Shenron, who descended from the sky in all his glory, radiating an awe-inspiring presence. Speak your wish. You may have only one. Oolong, quick on his feet, shouted out a wish before Pilaf had a chance. I want a pair of girls' underwear. Shenron, obliging, granted the wish, then dispersed back into Dragon Balls that scattered across the world. They'd have to wait another year before making another wish. Summoning his last bit of strength, Wukong fired one final Kamehameha, freeing them. A furious Pilaf gave chase, but Yamcha scooped up the exhausted Wukong, and they fled into the distance, finally escaping to safety. Pilaf unleashed a pack of hunting dogs to chase after them. Yamcha and Wukong fought off the dogs as best they could but were eventually overpowered and captured. Pilaf locked them in a room with a glass ceiling. This time, the walls were unbreakable, and by morning, the sun would turn the room into a scorching trap. Faced with what seemed like certain doom, everyone began to share stories. Wukong recounted a strange tale. A monster had appeared during a full moon and stomped his grandfather to death. He explained that he had been asleep at the time and hadn't witnessed it, but his grandfather had warned him never to look at the full moon. Upon hearing this, the others instinctively moved away from him. Bulma, curious, asked if he'd looked at the moon the night his grandfather died. Wukong answered that he had, and Bulma urged him not to look at it now, but Wukong couldn't resist. He glanced up, marveling at the beauty of the full moon above. In an instant, he began to transform. His body grew larger, his teeth elongated into fangs, and soon he completed his transformation. Wukong broke free from the room, having having turned into a giant ape. He rampaged through Pilaf's castle, tearing down walls as he went. Panicked, Pilaf and his henchmen scrambled into their plane and took off. Meanwhile, Yamcha picked up Bulma, and they made their escape. Determined not to lose his castle, Pilaf flew back and dropped a bomb on Wukong, momentarily stunning him. He then landed and, in a fit of rage, stomped on Wukong's tail. Wukong soon regained consciousness, causing Pilaf to flee once more. This time, Wukong swatted Pilaf's plane out of the sky. Yamcha and the others prepared to run, but Bulma found herself trapped under some rubble. Yamcha rushed to free her, but Wukong seized her in his giant ape form. Remembering Wukong's weakness, Puar suggested they target his tail. Working together, they held onto it, temporarily immobilizing Wukong. Puar transformed into a pair of scissors and cut off Wukong's tail, causing him to revert to his normal form. As dawn broke, the group decided not to tell Wukong that he had been the monster responsible for his grandfather's death. When he awoke, he seemed slightly off balance without his tail, but quickly adjusted. Yamcha and Bulma, having grown closer, decided they no longer needed the Dragon Balls. But Wukong still wanted to find the 4-star Dragon Ball. Bulma gave him the Dragon Radar, suggesting he could continue his search when the Dragon Balls reappeared in a year. With that, Wukong parted ways with his friends. Bulma and the others returned to the city, while Wukong set out to train with Master Roshi. And so, the story of the Dragon Balls was just beginning.